this guy's videos. Theology of the Body Institute, very insecure guy, and this this video is called "Why Do You Wear Clothes and Why Your Dog Does Not." The story in the Bible is that once Adam and Eve ate of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, they were imbued with the concept of shame and immediately put like fig leaves or something over their bodies to create the first clothing. This is obviously like some guy trying to be like, I don't know why people wear clothes. I feel shame for my body. I guess I will project that into my religious writing. And then it just held true. And here we are, 3,000 years later, one guy projected, and there it is. He gave all these guys insecurity. And all this little pernicious thing, nothing more than one. This is reality. In the book, the Bible, the guy who wrote that passage projected onto billions of people an insecurity about their bodies and an inherent sinfulness toward their bodies, ruining humanity. You could go back in time and kill a lot of people. That might be even better. That might be even better than who maybe your top ideas is, whoever that fucking guy is, okay? Whoever wrote the fucking Bible, burn it in a ditch. Well, the first passages. You only need to get rid of the beginning. Anyway, although it's so cool, man. It really is too harmful, though. No, it just has to go. It has to go. I don't care how cool it is. We can get other cool things. I bet we'll have more cool things. In fact, I guarantee if we burn that Bible, we will have, the fucking, we could have the Library of Alexandria still. Who knows? Who knows what could happen without Christianity making everyone barbarians? Who knows what could happen? Anyway, let's hear what he says. We haven't even heard one thing. I'm just on this fucking screen. We could go to this screen. Too close. Oh, we're in his mouth. All right.
This one's going to be interesting.
Oh, okay.
Christopher, I recently had this...
Your name is Christopher? That track. He looks like a Christopher. Some guys don't look like their name they are. This guy looks like a Christopher. He does not look trustworthy.
...reflection by looking at my dog. His genitals were on display for all the world to see, and I began musing on this, that human beings are the only animals in this world that wear clothing.
Well, I mean, we put clothing on other animals. The answer is going to shock you. It's evolution, but it's going to shock you.
Know this is biblically significant, but I can't put my finger on it. Can you help me? Why are human beings the only animals that wear clothing?
Okay, well, so the secular answer is that we have not evolved to have the kind of climate control that other mammals do because we have, evolutionarily speaking, devoted more of our biological resources towards our brains and other stuff.
It's cold!
And because we divert towards our brains, it has become something we don't need, and so we don't select for people with big, hairy hides. But you see hairy people that still exist, and you even see a gene in humans that sometimes still comes around where they're covered in hair, in a quirk, a mutation of the DNA that down the line somewhere we have that normally lays dormant. But you've seen people covered in hair. It's a disorder. Human beings do not have selection pressure that would lead them to need heavy coats of hair to live. So that's why. But if you left a generation of people in conditions that made it beneficial for them to grow body hair, you would see over time as nature selected for increased body hair. When we say nature selected, by the way, I wonder, maybe natural selection has such a connotation of intent, and like a mind behind the selection, that maybe that's a bad term to use when trying to describe the natural process of natural selection is just who gets to reproduce, because the animal that reproduces continues, their species continues.
First of all, I just want to comment on how much I love this guy's question, and I love his honesty, and I love how just looking at creation, looking at his dog's genitals, and the fact that they're just out there for all to see, led him to this deeper reflection.
calling it your dog's genitals instead of saying like your dog's crotch or whatever. I don't know. Like, remember when I talked about this with Dara? He does crotchy dog and he'll just like splay out and he's really cute and everything. I've never thought about how he's not shamed. I take my clothes off all the time in my house. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of this shit. You think I don't want to take my clothes off in front of you guys. You guys haven't gotten the pass, okay? But I mean, like, you play your cards right. I'll be naked on your couch. I'm full nudist. I'm naked all the time, guys. Big time naked. Yeah, I call him crotchy dog because he's up. He's on his back, and his crotchy's out. And yeah, he's cute as fuck. He's got a little fluffy belly, but it's not a shame thing, is it? Like, why would he have shame? That's the point, right? Shame is something that we have like built in. Now, part of it, we could talk about it more. Part of this lies in patriarchy and sexual domination. We'll talk about it.
Beautiful, wonderful. It's an example to us all. Get curious. Go look at the world and start asking questions. It'll take you places. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, it'll take you. Yeah, go out and ask questions. It'll take you places. I fucking agree, man. Maybe you should ask questions that lead you away from this fucking religion. It'll stop cooking your goddamn brain.
Speak to this, and it's one of my favorite points that John Paul II makes in the Theology of the Body. He says that the line in the book of Genesis, this is before sin comes into the world, the man and his wife were both naked and felt no shame.
Yeah. So this is an allegory to try to describe why a guy might wear clothes, right? If you want to look at it from a poetic standpoint, it's kind of like... human beings were once creatures that walked around. Like you could see like a montage in your head of like human evolution. We used to be like, small tribal, I mean, maybe even sub-tribal, like proto-tribal, like familial, I guess, grouped flocks of apes that used to like go around, just like this guy right here. We used to go around and, eat fruit off trees and shit instead of like farming and settling down and building cities and stuff before the agricultural revolution 10,000 years ago. It's only been 10,000 years since we've fucking learned how to plant stuff, guys. That is no time at all. Dune takes place in the future in the amount of time it took us in the past to get fucking like the beginning of civilizations, the earliest civilizations we have any evidence for. By the way, in Michigan, in the north, in the Traverse Bay, they found evidence of a 9,000-year-old, like Stonehenge thing, structure that is sunken now, but that wouldn't have been sunken 9,000 years ago at the end of the Ice Age. Can you believe the end of the Ice Age was also when we began to learn how to plant stuff? That's crazy, dude. Anyway, yeah, the Ice Age we had an Ice Age 10,000 years ago, by the way. And so this is the civilization of humans that fucking, came out of this 7,000 years later writing about this shit,
John,
we're so fucking cool. We could be so cool. Look at that turkey. Ain't no fucking turkeys in goddamn. There were goddamn no turkeys in Iraq.
Paul II says this is a very evocative statement, and we can be tempted to think it's just kind of thrown in there as a cursory detail. He said, no. This statement, they were both naked and felt no shame, is the key, he said.
Dude, is Sarah making potato-y things? It smells so good.
Is the key to the original sketch of biblical anthropology. Now, what does that mean? Biblical anthropology, a biblical view of what it means to be a human being.
Yeah, man, why not just regular anthropology? And if it happens to overlap with the Bible, you're like, damn, that's confirmation of the Bible. That's cool. But guess what? It won't be, because the Bible's not true.
The key to it is that we understand why they were naked without shame. John Paul II tells us
they were naked without shame because there was no reason to be shameful. Okay? I guarantee you, male sexual violence is part of the reason covering up is a thing, other than being, like, sheltered from the elements, which is the primary reason. Male sexual violence is absolutely part of the problem, especially when it started to get into situations where families that didn't know each other started to live with one another in cities and stuff. And so it became like, oh, well, those other people are fucking not us, right? So, you know how men are. And this kind of religion has perpetuated this kind of belief, right? Because it's obvious that they took a patriarchal approach to civilization where not all cultures did, at least not to the degree that they did. There's always been, to some extent, due to the issue of pregnancy, where if you're AFAB, you're going to have some problems probably in the old times. But
I'm paraphrasing from a lengthy reflection here, but John Paul II basically tells us that they were naked without shame because they experienced erotic desire.
Okay, so I'm naked when I like erotic desire, and you should like erotic desire. Like, erotic desire is good. You can have erotic desire. But I'm not naked every time I have erotic desire. Like, what? You're crazy, dude.
As God created it to be. And God created erotic desire to be the power to love divinely. The power to love as God loves, right? Christ
Are you trying to start a sex cult, man? Is this an attempt for a sex cult?
comes into the world as the bodily manifestation of divine love. And he says to us, love one another as I have loved you. How did he love us? This is my body given for you.
Yeah, okay, this sounds like a sex cult. I think, is this guy a creep? Somebody should see if he's a creep.
That's the true sentiment of Adam's eros, right? Christ is the new Adam, right?
Christ is the new Adam. Did Jesus poop? Do you think Jesus ever pooped? Do you think Jesus, if he pooped, ever poked his finger through the toilet paper? I don't think he did, because he didn't use toilet paper. Disgusting. What was the Judean bathroom? Judea bathrooms? I know they were Roman. Did they have the they have ancient lifting lids on toilet seats for like upper class people, but it was on the exterior of the Roman Empire. So did they have good plumbing in Judea? They have one public toilets. Huh? No, that's TripAdvisor to Jerusalem. I don't actually want to go to Jerusalem. Jesus ran at 100% efficiency and never pooped. I think he pooped from his pores.
My body given for you. The first Adam was naked without shame because the way he experienced erotic desire for Eve, for his wife, was, this is my body given up for you. How did Eve experience it? The first woman experienced erotic desire as an open trust in the love of her bridegroom. Let it be done to me according to your love, to your word.
Yeah, dude. See, he totally is just like, yeah, you should just totally let me have sex with you. Is this kink? You could get into this. Yeah, you could get down with some of this. This could be a little kinky. You'd be like, especially if you're working through some religious stuff. Look, this is the only way to cleanse your sins, chat. This is just the only way.
Right? And notice that gets fulfilled in the new Eve, in the New Testament. Let it be done to me according to your love and your word.
Go. Yeah, that sounds rapey. Self-cessed kink Adam? Ooh. You ever be my Taco Bells in the microwave? Bro, Taco Bell sounds so good.
Right. That is authentic
sounds good.
eros. There's no shame in loving as God loves. They see each other's body as this call to love divinely. One of the great gifts of John Paul II's theology of the body is that we connect the dots.
This is your fault, you made me curious. Convenient for insertion and surprisingly soft when dried. Corn cobs were plentiful and popular among Native Americans and colonial settlers in North America. With the edible kernels removed, the remaining cob has copious grooves and indentations, which became quite efficient at trapping any remaining fecal matter. Well,
that's between the new commandment, love one another as I have loved you.
I think that makes sense. And honestly, you know what? I think it's probably unlikely that corn cobs were used very often, but I do think that there could be a
if I was gay or something
in a colonial settler sense. Like, what are your options? Go to the fucking white Europeans were not known for their fucking hygiene. Yeah, I think a corn cob is pretty good considering the shit rivers of their cities.
But yeah, I mean, he coerced me into sucking him off.
Maybe it'd be wet. No, you can't have it wet, Brooke. What are you doing? You got to get the moisture off. So I think we could figure out a few ways to do this. Is authentic sex sex while staring at a crucifix and reciting the? Yes, that's authentic sex is involving crucifixes. True. This is your resignation. Too late. No, it can't be wet. Sabus, welcome. We're talking about the merits of wiping your ass with a corn cob, and I swear to God, it has something to do with this video. I know that we can track it back if we really thought hard where this started. But what I would like to have is the last word on the corn cob butt wipe situation, and that is, I could see a situation where if you got like colonial times fucking booty and you eat some bad fish and you're like, damn, man, I got the squirts and, you know, what's a shower? My ass itches. Man, that corn cob with the ribbed edges scratching your booty? That's got to feel good, dude. They were probably like, God damn, this is an upgrade from the fucking slums of London, you know, where we just didn't do anything. You're leaving the room? Well, before you leave the room, I want you to remember and consider that thousands of years before Christianity dominated the world and ruined everything, the infrastructure did exist for really good and efficient like sewage dealings. It was really delightful.
So moist that it's actually dripping.
I mean, like the body cleanliness standards were in some ways higher 2,000 years ago than they were 500 years ago. So the corncob butt wipe situation. Yes. Thank you. Anyway, that is the corncob butt wipe situation. We figured it out. This guy's talking about why he's scared to wear clothes or whatever.
And our bodies, right? The call to love
Oh, he's starting a sex cult. That's what it is.
as God loves is chiseled by God right in the sexual difference. A man's body makes no sense by itself. A woman's body makes no sense by itself. Seen in light of each other, unless we're blind, we see the call to love divinely through the gift of self in a holy.
Okay, not everyone used the communal butt sponge. If you forgot to bring your butt sponge, you use the communal Roman bathhouse butt sponge, okay? Or if you just couldn't afford a butt sponge, you use the communal bathhouse butt sponge. And sure, I guarantee you, sometimes the communal butt sponge was absconded with, or, someone fucked with it, or someone had a particularly nasty shit, or whatever. I don't think communal butt sponge is the way to go. I would go in another direction if I had some options, but yeah. Okay? Communal butt sponge is nonetheless not just sitting there, okay? Remember, communal butt sponge, think of the Roman bathhouse not as a place you shit in a Western sense, alone and secluded in your tiny little cubicle of shame. No. You do this in a community sense, kind of like a sauna, where we're all sort of on a shared bench and starting like on the left side of the room and then moving like counterclockwise around the room to the right side. You would have quite literally flowing water that was pressurized and moved through into like tubes and then like through like a trough and like a river in through the bathhouse and then would push out into a gray water waste situation that they would push out. And at the end of every night in Rome, they fucking clean the streets by moving fresh water down them as they moved it from their fucking aqueducts and the cisterns they had down the streets. And they were like literally the city designed to make sure that you could wash and clean everything. It was beautiful. Oh, anyway, yeah. So you would sit around in a group and shit, and the sponge was in a cleaning situation, like it was perpetually cleaned and changed out. They would use, you'd go get a new sponge, and we have some new butt sponge for everybody. And, you may use cloth or something. But, like, you could go to the bathhouse right next door and take a full body bath from, like, cold water, medium water, down to hot water if you wanted. You get your strigils out. You take your buddies. They had fucking oils and shit for your skin, and you could get all smelling pretty. So you could take a big, massive shit, walk down, get some of that, walk out, grab some flatbread from your favorite guy, and then, go do whatever Romans do, whatever you're into. You could probably work a wage job or be important enough not to have to, or be too poor to experience any of this. What kind of dinner are you eating?
Life-giving communion. it brought with it, as John Paul II says, the beatifying experience of happiness, right? Happiness, he says, is being rooted in love.
Sure,
a
man.
beatifying experience. It means full and blissful, right? But we know this bliss did not last very long. God had said, if you choose to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, here's what will happen.
This is such a funny fucking part of the whole religion. So, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil gives you the knowledge of good and evil. Fair enough. Which means they are without the knowledge of good and evil. Meaning, they cannot assess whether or not eating of the tree of knowledge of good and evil is a good or evil act because they have not eaten of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, so they don't have the knowledge of good and evil. This is the dumbest shit ever. A guy sitting on a hill 3,000 fucking years ago wrote his thoughts down and it preserved through time, and here we fucking are. He had a bad idea. He was wrong. That's all that happened.
You will die. Now, they didn't keel over dead on the spot. Rather, they expired within. Expire. They had been inspired by the divine love, right? They had been inspired by that
I gotta speed you up, bro.
breath of God, the love of God, the life-giving love of God. Their bodies were inspired. When they ate from that tree, they expired. They breathed that life and love out of them. And you cannot give what you do not have. When the love of God has been breathed out of you, you no longer have it to give.
What, man? The fuck? Anyway, so an omniscient God made fallible human beings and knew from the fucking moment that he placed them there, I mean prior because he's omniscient, but the moment he placed them there, knew that they were doomed to sin eternal on behalf of humanity, a mechanism he did not have to allow. God is in charge of the universe and the creation of it. He does not have to have a tree of knowledge and good and evil. He doesn't have to give knowledge of good and evil at any point or introduce the concepts of good and evil at any point. You can have a perfect utopian world. If heaven can exist at all, it can certainly exist here. He never had to do this, right? None of it makes sense. It's logically, it's just not true. Reality is that we're apes that evolved on a space rock, and it's fucking crazy. We're so interesting. What an interesting species. After all the extinction events that the Earth has gone through, like when we might, and almost certainly going to go through again in the future, like, wow, what an amazing little moment in time. Fermi paradox, baby. We are the aliens we're looking for. We are the aliens. You ever think about that? No, of course not. Human-centric ass. We are aliens to somebody out there. They'd be like so fucking pumped. We're literally aliens on an alien planet, and we can do whatever we want, man. We can do whatever we want. Except we have authoritarians.
It's in this moment that eros
Christians.
is cut off from agape. And by that I mean erotic love is cut off from divine love. It's no longer love at all because eros is now vacated of divine love. Eros has now, in our fallen experience, become something inverted, right? Adam is no longer saying, this is my body given up for you. Eros, cut off from agape in him, is now saying, hey, that's your body, and I'm taking it for me. I want to consume you. I want to use you. I want to get out of you something for my own benefit. Eve, on the other hand, is saying, what happened here? I'm a person. I'm not a thing. I'm never meant to be looked upon as an object for your selfish pleasure.
Okay. You can do that consensually, but like you're virtue signaling because you want to do a sex cult. I'm a gay. Whoa. He is victim blaming Eve. That's for sure. The Christians blame Eve for everything, though.
So she covers her body, not because her body's bad. That's a lie. We don't cover our bodies because they're bad. We cover our bodies in this fallen world because they're so good. And we feel, or should feel, an instinctive need to protect the goodness of our bodies from the degradation of lust.
So you think if you walk around naked, people will just lust at you too much? Yeah. So lust is this is what I was talking about earlier. It's male sexual violence. When you say lust, it's male sexual violence is what we're talking about. Like, I mean, two people can lust after each other and actually like do this, but when you say we need to wear clothes to protect ourselves from lust, it's not two consenting adults. It's male sexual violence. And then when we bring that up, you're like, oh, that's too woke or something. It's woke to listen to the reality of male sexual violence. So anyway, male sexual violence is part and parcel of the conservative mindset, because you're like, oh, well, women are for me to gain. Women are a commodity for me to have and to own, and it gains my status as a man.
What is lust? Just as we've been saying, lust is eros cut off from agape.
Agape. That sounds pornographic, in my opinion.
Critical that we understand. We cover our bodies because they're so good. Right? It's not the body that is shameful, John Paul II says. It's our lustful desire. It's our inclination to treat the other person as a thing that is shameful. And here,
being attracted to somebody isn't shameful. The reason you have these like weird fucking Christian sex pest thoughts, it's because of your religion, but like also like part of it is the suppression of your sexualities and the way that you just like do not express yourselves in healthy ways in a sexual nature. It is okay to be attracted to people. People like being told that they're attractive if it's meaningful, right? Like if it's from a meaningful source and you like respect the opinion of like someone with rapport, it's going to feel good to have, I don't know if it's even reciprocity, just to be like, hey, thanks so much. I appreciate your face. And some people have good faces. It just is what it is. And like, that's such a big difference between just like acting on lust, which is of course male sexual violence in this context. Like just being mutually attracted to somebody and wanting together to like fuck each other's brains out or whatever is not bad. And good butts. People have butts. Butts are good.
Here, we have to be very careful with our language. Sometimes that negative evaluation of the body creeps into the way we talk. For example, maybe you're knocking on someone's bedroom door and you might be concerned that he or she is in a state of undress. And you'll say, are you decent? What is the only proper Christian biblical response to that question, even if you're butt naked? The only proper biblical response to that question is, absolutely, I'm decent. God looked at everything he made and said, behold, it is very good.
What a weird guy. He wants you to walk in on him naked.
Right? The point here is that the body is not indecent. What might be indecent is the way someone is looking at your body. So the next time you're in a state of undress and somebody knocks on the door, do not say, hold on, let me get a bathrobe, I'm indecent. Rather, say, hold on, let me get a bathrobe, because the way you might look at my very decent nakedness might be indecent.
Yeah, it's fucking weird to like thought crime somebody, Like, I don't know, what if that's your fucking kid, man? Well, I mean, he's Christian, so who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if it's just like a platonic situation where you don't have any feelings toward them? Like, I just think it's more of a courtesy thing due to our shame culture about bodies, but yeah.
That is not just a matter of mental gymnastics. That is the difference between...
It's not just mental gymnastics I'm doing.
An authentic, biblical, sacramental understanding of the universe and a heretical, not only unchristian, but anti-Christian understanding of the universe. Any attack against the dignity and goodness and sacredness of the human body is not only unchristian, it's anti-Christian. There is no such thing as a dirty body part unless you've been rolling in the mud.
Creepy isn't illegal.
Creepy is not illegal. I am learning way too much about this guy's fantasies. So the way he couches the dirty body parts, like it sounds like a sex cult thing because of the way he's trying to control this talk. I ostensibly agree with there's no dirty body part or what. Like calling it dirty is a weird thing. I think it's kind of sexual. I think like there's no like sinful or whatever body part. There's no like shameful piece of your body. Just like you have a body. I think there's like consensual ways to use your body and non-consensual ways to use your body. I don't think if we lived in a culture where we were less stressed about this, that nudity would be as sexual as we make it out to be. You know what I mean? I think people would be desensitized if, for instance, like breasts were fucking like they'd still be sexual in some degree because they are like I like titties, but like how much of I like titties is because we hide titties? Because like I love Sarah and I'm very attracted to her and I like her titties, but she can be naked around here and it's not just like I gotta fuck, you know what I mean? Like she can just have titties and just be like naked and comfortable and it's like we just hang out. It's normal. So, like, it's obvious that you can get even to people you're consensually sexually attracted to, you can get desensitized to, like, the idea of nudity, that nudity equals sexuality and equals a sexual thing, which is not true. I do think that, like, if you're going to do sex acts and stuff, if you do it around people, it should be with consent, right? Demystified titties. Look, there's no titty that isn't mysterious enough for me. Okay, I'm a titty enjoyer. I'll learn the titty mysteries.
That said, we all have these lustful desires, and a shameless approach to nakedness helps no one. What's the difference between nakedness without shame and shameless nudity? Nakedness without shame is an experience of integrated sexual desire and attraction where I can be naked and not be treated as an object for use. That's nakedness without shame, right? But shameless nudity is where I expose my nakedness knowing I'm going to be treated as an object for somebody else's selfish pleasure, and I just subject myself to it.
Are you a bottom? What's going on here? Does he have a daddy? What's happening?
That's pornography. Pornography is shameless nudity, right? John Paul II says true love...
Pornography? It's not pornograph. What? If you want to... Look, if you are just like you want to be used sexually, you can do that with consent. That's fine. Go ahead. There's lots of people who like that.
Swallows shame.
Whoa. Whoa.
And how do we get into all these rich reflections?
Dude, he's using a lot of terminology here, dude.
By a guy.
Dude.
Who had the nerve to reflect on why are my dog's genitals just dangling out there for all the world to see? And
please stop describing the dog genitals.
I could drink cum by the gallon load and never get pregnant.
I don't like that the cum message came during the dog chat. I'll say that. And I'll say that right now. Why is he on the dog genitals? Don't describe your dog's genitals as dangling, please.
Dog doesn't think anything of it, but I do, right? What's the difference between us and the animals?
You do.
Right? And we are animals, but we're not merely animals. We are...
You think about the dog dick too much.
Persons. And the difference between a person and an animal is that we are called to love in the image and likeness of God. Right? The copulation of two dogs and the joining of the two in one flesh between a husband and a wife, they may look similar at a merely biological level, but at their root, they are worlds apart because one is governed by instinct, which means it can't go wrong. There's no shame in animals because there's no possibility of love, and there's no possibility of getting love wrong.
Down on me.
Doc.
Right? But human beings...
Can we get this guy... Look, we need the ASPCA out here.
Have free will. Human beings have the capacity to love.
This man's watching dogs fuck too much.
And with our free will, we can get it wrong. And when we get it wrong, that's the root of our shame.
What are you getting wrong in bed that you'd be shamed about? Say something nice. Oh!
You know what? Fuck it. I'm going down on him.
I gotta say something nice about this guy. God damn it! I'm gonna think of something real nice to say. It's gonna be so nice. I think it is. It takes confidence to try to start a sex cult on YouTube Christian YouTube rather. It takes some confidence to try to start a sex cult this openly. It seems to be doing okay. I don't know if he's getting his sex cult activities really, but he seems to be an animal lover. Yeah, he's an animal lover. That's a great quality.
So shame becomes an instructor. Shame instructs us. It teaches us something is off. Something is wrong. Something has been distorted from the original picture. What? And the good news is Christ came to restore creation to the purity of its origins.
He came to it already.
If you want to go on that journey...
I don't fucking want to. I don't want to.
Click the link.
No, I'm good. Great. That's the end of the video. Perfect! I do not want to go on that journey. I don't need the journey at all. I don't desire that journey. I don't think it's going to help me to go on that journey. I'm going to avoid it altogether. Cum Preacher? Don't call him Cum Preacher. That's a cool name. I want to be the Cum Preacher. Look at that cat. Why is that cat here? All right. That's the... Christians are so strange. It happens every time. I wish I wish that we could talk to some more Christians about this topic. Sexuality in general is pretty interesting because they get it wrong on so many fronts.